Hi, it's Jason here at Jazz Piano Club. Today we're looking at an amazing tune called Misty. Now you've probably heard of this tune, you may even have played it before. It was written by an American jazz piano player and composer. His name was Errol Garner way back in the 1950s, so it has stood the test of time. I've done an arrangement of this for solo piano. So we're going to be having a look at playing this from the music. And don't worry, if this is something you don't often do, I know we get very used to as jazz musicians reading chord symbols, but from time to time it's worth exploring reading the notes written out on the stave. And then that's a really nice way into discovering maybe some new voicings that you haven't thought about using. It's also an opportunity if you're more of a classical player to play this arrangement. You might find that a little bit easier and then discover some of these voicings. And you know, there's a few characteristics when we play solo piano. We use the pedal a little bit more. We can play in this style called rubato, play around with the time a little bit more. So I think you're going to enjoy this. I'm going to play it through first for you. There's a PDF completely free if you want to grab that, more details at the end, or you can just have a listen, see what you make of it. But if you want to have a go at playing this on your own, then that's something you could certainly look into getting completely free on the website. So without further ado, here's Misty. That was Misty. What a beautiful composition. We're going to have a look at some of the elements of this arrangement, beginning with rubato at the beginning. This means that we can, especially in a ballad, just take our time with some of the phrases. So we can slow down at the end, we can pause on some notes. Because we're not playing with any other instruments, because this is solo piano, then it's a nice opportunity to do that. Otherwise, you know, you may be practicing a piece of music with a metronome, but certainly not this piece. With pedal and by chord is an interesting marking at the beginning. When we're playing solo piano, more than ever, we need to use the pedal just to kind of, as I put the pedal down, you can hear that sound of it just holding on. And especially if I do a low note, kind of pedaling up to a high note, and it just gives a little bit of depth. Then you can see as I press the pedal down with my right foot and lift it up, okay, I'm catching the chords. And essentially, even in classical music, you're a lot of the time pedaling by chords. So if I move along to, say, bar 5, the E flat major here with the pedal. Now I lift the pedal up as I play the C minor and place it back down again to trap the sound, and then I lift it up and place it down again. So I'm kind of joining the music up to give this nice fluid sound. And at the same time, as well as remembering at bar 5 there, the melody is always the most important thing. I want to really just feel like I can hear this melody. Leaning in. As opposed to just, getting a bit carried away with just playing the notes and the chords. I don't want it to sound like this. That's an exaggeration, okay? But the melody is the primary focus. We're always listening out for that super smooth, phrased melody. Another feature of this piece of music, when you get to bar, say, 15, you could take out a little phrase. I love this little turnaround. Okay, and you could maybe just explore that, just having a listen to the melody there. So it's the tonic of the key we're in, upper 5th, chromatic, down to this minor chord 4, A flat minor in terms of E flat. And that nice little flick, 3rd, 2nd, back down to the root. So you could take that, and maybe that will be a little exercise. If you find something that you like, take it round a few keys. So if I was in the key of C, could I use the same little figure? So I'd start on the root, up A 5th, down semitone, that chord 4 minor, nice little flick on the 3rd. And if I wanted to be adventurous, I could add the chords there. So that's that C6, the F minor 7 here. That's a really nice left-hand voicing there, that G13 in the key of C. And then, and I could even take that round the cycle of fifths or up in semitones. Let's try one in semitones. And we get to that. And incidentally, just as I'm on the subject of these left-hand chords now, if any of these are too much to stretch, you can always kind of modify them. In this solo piano, I've got fairly reasonable span of hands, so I can kind of... But if I can't do that, that's not a problem. I can use the pedal again to pedal it and then kind of get up to the note I want. So don't worry if you can't stretch these bigger distances. And left-hand voicings, this is nice. If you notice at bar 17 and 18, I've just kind of got these open voicings, but it's okay to do that solo piano. It doesn't always have to be root all the time. So sketching in, and again at bar 22, that D9 voicing, even though there's no D in the root, our ear kind of fills that in, so long as we don't do this for too long. And then you notice at bar 23, back to that root there. Nice little figure actually at bar 27. I like this. And that's Oscar Peterson often uses that, this kind of figure of just, you're not really changing from this A flat major, but we're just kind of giving a little bit of interest. It depends what note is at the top, but if the 3rd's at the top, then that's something you could explore. So we get the major 7, the sharp 5 going to the 6. And then carrying on again, this idea of playing the octave in melody, it's very George Shearing. So, we can explore within this solo piano style these different voicings and these alternative ways of playing with roots, fuller chords, in octaves and so on. To just mention that when you get to bar 31, that's G minor 7 to take us through a little turnaround. At that bar 31 there, if you wanted to make that the tonic chord, and then bar 32 could be your B flat dominant. You could go back to the beginning here. So this is just a once through, but if you wanted to repeat, and maybe you could do a little explore, maybe half of the first A section solo piano and jump back in at bar 17 with the bridge, you could double the length of this and have a little solo section. It's interesting to note that you don't always have to solo over everything you play in this jazz repertoire. You might find this as nice just as it is. Moving on from that point, one final thing to talk about is the last couple of chords. That's bar 35 into 36, that final E flat chord. We've actually got C flat major 7. C flat major 7 is actually just the correct way of writing out what you might just see as a B major chord, which is completely fine. To keep us in the flat key, we're in E flat major as much as we can. Again, it moves to E major in the next chord because starting to talk about F flat might get a little bit scary. So, it's good to be open to different ways of referring to essentially the same chord. C flat here in this case, though, essentially the last 2 chords in that bar before the E flat at the end, we're basically, it's a 2 to a 5 to a 1, 2, 5, 1. But the 2 is a tritone substitution, but the tritone of the F is the B. The tritone of the B flat is the E. So we get, instead of 2, 5, 1, we get this tritone movement there to the E, then to the 1. You can hear it happening. And then the E major instead of the B flat. Lots of notes kind of in common. So if you like that ending, then you could think about doing that, say, in a different key. So for example, let's choose a different key, 2, 5, 1 in G, 2, 5, 1. The tritone of the 2 would be the E flat. The tritone of the 5 would be the A flat. And in this case, they're both major chords. So if you're in the key of G, a nice ending might be E flat major to A flat to finish on G. Okay, so a few things to think about playing this transcription of Misty. Hope you enjoyed that. And, you know, good luck with your practice. It's quite challenging. I'm looking at, when I was playing the PDF there, kind of fistfuls of notes. So you could just do this hand separately, just pick out a little figure that you like. Don't worry, this doesn't have to be suddenly a finished performance, but certainly worth having a look at. Okay, I hope you got on okay there with Misty. It's a really cool transcription. Nice to be able to play that solo style so you can just kind of sit at a piano and entertain all of your friends. It's, you know, it's challenging. It's maybe for you a work in progress. You can just kind of, you know, like you would with a classical piece of music, start hands separately, break it down, look at small chunks, and you can build that up into a final performance. So you can let me know how you get on with that. And remember, details below to go to the website jazzpianoclub.com, where you can subscribe completely free, grab that PDF completely free, as well as many other cool resources. And finally, just if you could give this YouTube video a like, that would be amazing, and subscribe to this channel. And then I'll see you very soon for the next lesson at jazzpianoclub.com. Bye for now.